Hello everybody and welcome to Tech Jobs Fair 2021. My name is Dietmar Dahmen and now I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what we're going to talk about today. And today we're actually going to talk about a condensed version of my 6-part webinar series, What's Next? This is a special edition especially for Tech Jobs Fair and I hope you will like it. I hope you like it as much as I liked my favorite movie of 2021, Godzilla vs. Kong. And Godzilla vs. Kong really reminds us of business. And we think, yeah, that the big corporations are fighting each other all the time. But in reality, it is not really Godzilla versus Kong. In reality, it is much more like Godzilla versus Ant-Man and the Wasp. Why is that so? Well, it's relatively simple. Very often the big brands are fighting and there's one big brand fighting another big brand, and the small guys in the corner, the small companies in the corner can act unnoticed. The big brands are completely preoccupied with themselves and they only think that the big volume markets count. So they are looking at the big volume markets, and when they are looking at the big volume markets, the small volume markets, the markets on the fringe, can grow. The big might at one point notice it, but they hope that the small will go away. They say this is just a fringe product, never mind. But hope is never a good business strategy, and that's why the small ones can grow. They can grow more and they can attract more customers and more customers like the offer of the fringe markets. And that's why they can grow even more. And when the big notice and when the big companies react, it is very often too late to win. It is too late to win, the small can grow even bigger, and the disruption is complete. And this happens over and over again. Just look at Tesla. Tesla started out in 2011 to 2013 and stuff like that, definitely as a fringe market. The big players didn't move. They preferred the big volume markets. They were thinking, well, electromobility, that's for some crazy people in California. That's not our problem. Our market is completely different. But then the mainstream starts moving towards the fringe choice. More and more people actually embrace what Tesla did, and they like the electromobility. And then at one point, the big players couldn't keep up anymore. They noticed, but they can't keep up with the learning curve. Tesla was too far ahead in battery technology, engine technology, and in finding out what the customer really likes. So after a while, starting in 2019 and now 2020, 2021, the big players became a niche choice and the fringe player became the new category king. Tesla has now more money than the big players combined. So if the big players die, how do they die? Do they die in glory? Do they die fighting? Some do, but some big players actually die like a joke. It's horrible. They die like an episode from Looney Tunes. And let's look at Looney Tunes. If you don't know what it is, here's a good joke for you with Wile E. Coyote. Let's rewind the entire thing and start at the beginning. So Wile E. Coyote launches the business. He has a lot of power in his bag. The market propels him up. He's going up. He's happy. And he thinks this is really great. And after a while, obviously, he hits the peak. And again, he says, yeah, this is awesome. I have the highest sales. I have the highest market penetration. What could happen to me? And if Wile E. Coyote is a smart business person, Wile E. Coyote might assume that actually at one point, the business will gradually decline. Something like the bell curve we all know so very well. But this is not what happens. The business does not decline like a bell curve. There's a fast, dramatic decline like a Wile E. Coyote curve. And it goes boom. You're up there and then boom, you're down. You're up there and then all of a sudden combustion engines are illegal. Boom. Throw it away. Your old asset is waste. It's a fast, dramatic decline and boom, you die and you hate it. But that is what's happening. So your job, if you are in the tech industry, is to create a new category. Create a new category and start this category at the fringes of the market where nobody knows and you can grow. And then you can become the category king, and this is fantastic. So that's the first X, and what's next? How small beats big. But how can you actually grow from when you're small? What is your vision? How big should you actually be? Well, as we all know, you are as big as your vision. This is a photo taken from me before Corona when I was giving a keynote in Singapore. And before the keynote, we actually had a tour guide, and the tour guide showed us the city. And the tour guide said that this particular place where we were is actually a garden in the city. But in the 1960s, they changed the vision. They said, we don't just want to have a garden in a city. We actually want to be a city in a garden. And this vision was called in the 1960s the 100-year vision. So from the 1960s on, everything that Singapore did was measured against the goal, are we going to be a city in the garden if we do this? And if it helped to achieve the goal, boom, it was done. And if it didn't help, it wasn't done. So the 100-year vision, this is a really, really seriously long-term vision. But that's very good for us, because in chaotic times, we need to have long-term visions. The more chaotic the circumstances, the more long-term your vision should be. When you're the captain of a boat and there's a huge storm with gigantic waves, obviously you try to avoid the waves or work with the waves. You really, really respect the waves. But the waves are short-term. So if you wouldn't pay attention to your long-term goal, you might actually wind up completely off course, somewhere where you never wanted to be. So what do you do as a captain? You orient yourself really, really far away. In fact, you look at the North Star, and the North Star is not even in our galaxy. It's so far away, but it gives you direction. And then you can actually work with the waves, but still make sure that you always keep directions. And this is good. So the more chaotic the circumstances, the more long-term your vision should be. But the vision should also be big, because you are as big as your vision. If your vision is one more park, you will act like your vision is one more park. You will talk to the local chief of your neighborhood, and you will negotiate that you can get a park in the parking lot somewhere, right? And if your vision is a little bit bigger, let's say 5 parks, you don't just talk to one neighborhood guy, you will involve a couple of people, maybe even the city council or something like that. But if your vision is a city in a garden, that is humongous. And you don't just talk to the city council and stuff, you talk to the government, because you need to make sure that a certain subway route is being built, that a certain freeway is being canceled and stuff like that. This is a gigantic vision, and the gigantic visions are best. You know I like movies, and I really, really adore James Cameron, and he said, if you set your goals ridiculously high and it's a failure, you will fail above everybody else's success. What a great statement from the guy who did Avatar and Titanic and all those big blockbuster movies. This is really, really good advice. So you need to think big. Think big, and then you will win. But the question now is, how do you do that? And there I would like to share with you the Jedi quadrant of success. I like Star Wars and the Jedis and Luke Skywalker and obviously Han Solo, and stay on target is really, really great advice. So as Han Solo says, pick a great target, kid, and once you found it, stay on it. Find your target and stay on target until you hit it. And where are the good targets? Here's how to pick a great final goal. Let's start with a matrix where one axis is uniqueness, how unique are you, and the other axis is value, how valuable is what you offer. The first quadrant, where you're not so unique, not so valuable, is a really bad quadrant to be in. This is where the price wars are fought. They are dirty fights. You can't win. Leave that quadrant. Don't produce a product or an idea that is not so unique and is not so valuable. On top of that, where it's not so valuable, but it's much more unique, is the silly joy. This is really fun, and it's fun to be there, but it's not good for business. This is a great hobby you can have, or something that you might enjoy, but don't expect to make any money off of this. On the lower end, if you increase the value and it's still not so unique, this is where you will find things like money, gold, Bitcoin. The more you have, the better it is. This is about accumulating the wealth and maximizing quantity. But in the upper right-hand corner, where you are highly unique and very valuable, that's where the jackpot is. That's where the NFT tokens live. That's where everything that is really, really attractive resides. Try to go into the upper right-hand corner. Try to increase uniqueness and try to increase value. And this is great advice, not just for business, but also for private affairs, relationships, for life in general. The more unique you are, the better it is. The more valuable you are, the better it is. And if you are both unique plus valuable, man, you made it perfectly well. Congratulations. But what if you cannot come up with a new category? We heard that your vision should be great, that you should start at the fringes, and that the ideal quadrant is super unique and super valuable. But you don't know what that should be. And if you do not know, here's my advice. Simply disrupt an existing one. Disrupt an existing category and kick the existing category king off the throne. But this is easier said than done. This is where I used to grow up. This is actually before I grew up there. And as you can see, everybody likes traveling. This is a tourist place, and tourists came and went, and it was really, really, really busy. And what did every traveler have? Every person traveling had this: a suitcase. And they had to carry the suitcase. For thousands of years, we traveled with suitcases, and we hated it. And we went like, oh my God, I need to travel. I have to carry a heavy suitcase. But well, there's nothing you can do. What can you do? There's nothing you can do. I just need to accept this fate. Until some person, after thousands of years of traveling with suitcases, hated it so much that he or she created so much energy that she said, I don't want to carry this suitcase. I am gonna roll it. And this person put wheels on a suitcase. The first suitcase with wheels was sold in 1972. We had thousands of years of suitcases, thousands of years of wheels, but nobody put the two together. 1972, we've been to the moon in 1972 and even before that, and the guy is carrying his suitcases, and the astronaut said, well, there's nothing you can do about it. Until the person says, fuck yeah, there's something I'm gonna do about it. I can change it. I don't like the way it is now. So your job is to be like this person. Your job is to be a contrarian. Say no to the existing. Progress is the negation of the existing. Say no to it and you can disrupt the world. Wah. Well, disruption is very strong. And disruption, in fact, is not very new. Disruption is not new at all. You might know the saying, the Stone Age did not end from a lack of stones. The Stone Age ended because some person said no to the stone and hated the stone so much that the person invented the metal axe. So what happened after the metal axe was invented? Everybody used it, right? So what happened is that the new technology of metal replaced the old technology of stone. The Stone Age became the Bronze Age. So what happened there is that the disruption just attacked the existing technology, but it kept the basic need. Both with stone and with bronze, we needed something to hit with, right? But bronze was superior. So it improved the user experience. The metal lasts longer. The metal cuts better. This is happening all the time. The new technology will only prevail if it improves the customer experience, if it's easier, faster, better. So it is not just the technology that decides if you're going to be a success. It is the user. The user decides who will win. If it's easier for the user, if it's better for the user, your invention will prevail. If it's not as nice, it will fail. If you have the same idea but only more complicated, it will fail. Quality is great, but quality is not everything. It is very important that you improve the user's life on many, many aspects. It has to be easier, faster, maybe even cheaper. That's when you win. The amazing thing about this is that the user very often doesn't even see the change. The user sees continuity. The companies see the change. It's a lot of work with a lot of people, so no wonder companies come up with reasons why they don't need to change. And the most standard sentence that you will hear is, never change a winning horse. Never change a winning horse. We are the market leader. We are strong. We have millions of people. We are the main market. This is true, but this is also dangerous, because as we heard before, it is not necessarily a bell curve. It might be a Wile E. Coyote curve. But let's not talk about this. Let's look at the winning horse. What do you need in order to be a winning horse? Very obviously, you need a strong horse. That's your company. And on top of the horse, that's you. And you are steering the horse, and you are smart, and you know where you want to go. And you are a unit. You are one with the company. They look like they are one shape, and this is fantastic. And this is actually fantastic, but it is just a great team. This is not necessarily a winning horse. In order to win, you need to compete, and you need to compete somewhere. And where do you compete? You compete outside of yourself. You compete, in this case, on the racetrack, or in your case, on the market. And if I leave the horse and the jockey exactly like they are, and the only thing I change is the environment, and it becomes liquid, all of a sudden you have new winners, dolphins. How come dolphins are winning in a liquid environment? They used to be mammals. They used to be like us, right? Why are they so fast in the liquid environment of the ocean? And the reason is simple. They are so fast because they adapted. They adapted their inner structure, much less hierarchy, much more streamlined, and they adapted their outer structure. Instead of one huge contact every once in a while, they have constant contacts with their customers and are permanently engaged. And that's what makes them the new winner. And if they are the new winner, by definition, you have a new loser. And the only thing you can do to avoid that the shark eats you is to put on your helmet, adapt to the new, and ride the shark. And you must ride the shark big time. This is what you need to do. You cannot flee. The shark is faster. You cannot freeze, then the shark simply eats you. And you cannot fight, because the shark is definitely stronger than you. The only thing you can do is jump on top of the new technology, jump on top of the shark, and put the shark between the two legs. Emotion and function, digital and analog, customer orientation and innovation. That's how you do it. But this brings us to the next question: which shark? Which shark shall we ride? And the answer is, we don't know. We don't know. We are in fact like Little Red Riding Hood. We are like Little Red Riding Hood, and we know our mission. And our mission is to bring Grandma some red wine, right? We need to get Grandma tipsy, or maybe even plastered and totally drunk, but that's what we know. That's the only thing we know. And the rest is totally unknown. Where shall we go next? Shall we go this way or that way? And we are walking through the woods, and we know this is dangerous, and we know that we will probably be attacked, but we don't know who might attack us. Let's get back a couple of years and look at the car industry. Who attacked the car brand? Everybody assumed that the other car brands are attacking your car brand. That BMW is attacking Mercedes, and Mercedes is attacking Audi and stuff like that. That's what we thought. But then we noticed it was not another car brand. It was something completely outside of our universe. This guy who has been there waiting all the time, boom, and he jumped on us. The biggest attacks come from outside of your market. Back then, Google attacked cars with self-driving cars. And now maybe even helicopters are attacking cars. And Apple attacked the music industry. And Amazon attacked shopping malls. How crazy is that? Those are online services attacking real-world institutions, shopping malls, record industry, cars, and Corona attacked the rest. And what did we do? What did we do with Corona? And what do you need to do in your business? You need to fight back with more bang than Amazon, more bang than Apple, more bang than Corona. But how can you do that? Your opponents are humongously big and ultra powerful. But here's the winner's insight. If your opponent is super powerful, fight back with what the opponent lacks. Find the weak spot and attack the weak spot, just like the Achilles heel felled Achilles, the mightiest fighter in all of Greece. So we need to figure out what our big opponents lack. And obviously, Amazon lacks shopping experience. It is not very great to shop with Amazon. It is much more functional. So if you want to win against Amazon, the Achilles heel is probably experience. Apple lacks local, organic sustainability. And Corona obviously lacks the ability to penetrate masks, and it definitely can't penetrate Zoom. And that's why we have home office and virtual conferences and stuff like that. So, if disruption attacks the existing technology, do not create a product. A product can be killed by better products and better services. Build a brand that's much better. A product is a solution. It's a single solution, but a brand doesn't own the solution. The brand owns the entire problem. The products will die, but the problem will stay. The basic need will stay. The need to listen to music will stay. The technological solution, from vinyl to tape recorders to CD players to iTunes to Spotify to all those kinds of things, come and go. But the need to listen to music will stay. So create a brand that owns the problem. Owning the problem is very, very good. How can you do it? Don't look at your solution as what it is, but what it does. And we can learn a lot from big corporations and how they dealt with change. Let's look at banks. In the last decade, banks, the actual branches, really went down, minus 30% branches of banks. But banking, online banking, totally exploded, plus 1,050%. So the banks, what it is, the building, that went down. But banking, what it does, the service, that went up. And that's the thing. We perceive things that are offline very often as an object. This is a bank. This is a shop. This is an event. And we perceive things that are online mainly as activities. Online we do banking, shopping, or in our case, eventing. So your job is to just ing it. Move from product to service. Move away from the physical body to the actual soul. Let's do a little workshop. What is the soul of the bookshelf that you can see behind her? Again, not what it is, but what it does. What does the bookshelf do? Well, very obvious, it stores information. Great. It is very easy to access the information, even better, but the problem is you cannot access it everywhere. If I'm not physically close to the bookshelf, all the information to me is inaccessible. So the thing is that the soul of the bookshelf, the information itself and the easy access can be everywhere. And this is what Google and Wikipedia and all those other online services invented. It's like a bookshelf that is everywhere. Easy access to information everywhere. And this really, really, really rocks. But it doesn't have a body. So how much body can you lose and still keep your soul? If you ask me, a lot. Airbnb has nobody, no physical assets, it's only soul. Uber has nobody, no cars, it's just the connectivity. TikTok has nobody, all those people have zero physical assets and they really bank on soul. So, this brings us to the sixth and final X. What if you still don't know what to do? Well, here's my tip. Look for projects that are urgent and look for projects that have a huge tailwind. And in my point of view, sustainability is the jackpot here. The urgency of sustainability is dramatic. Our planet is heating up like a frog in the water. Here you see the globe, and if it's blue and yellow, it's not so hot, and if it's red, it's really, really hot. And as you can see, in the beginning of last century, it was mainly bluish, yellowish. But then in the middle of the century, in the later half, it got hotter and hotter and hotter. And today, we have 1 year a new weather crisis record. It's getting redder and redder and redder. Instead of rain, we have rain bombs. Look at what is happening all over the world. Instead of fire, we have firestorms. And our ice is not just melting, we have mega melts. So the urgency is definitely here. But there's also a tailwind. The sales for sustainable products in the US is continuously rising. 71% of millennials are willing to change their diet in order to reduce the impact on the planet. They're ready to eat less meat and more vegetarian. 80% growth in the fields of organic, healthy, better for you and better for the planet. And 85% of Germans say they want their water in glass bottles and not in plastic anymore. So we have a tailwind and we have urgency. And the interesting thing here in this chart is that 87% of the people expect others to act. And who are others? And are they acting? And yes, they are acting. And the others are, number one, the government. We have the Paris Climate Agreement, and the US is back. We have science working on it. The solar cell conversion efficiency dramatically increased. The market forces forced the price down, plummeting cost of solar. Solar is now the cheapest electricity in history. And we have the consumer. Electric car registration is dramatically up, and in Norway, electric cars rise to a record 54% market share in the beginning of this year. This is fantastic, but it's not just the government, science, and the consumer. Also, the businesses are doing their share. Shell was the first energy company to link executive pay and carbon emissions. Mini toiletries are going away in hotels, and Adidas is very successful with using ocean plastics to manufacture their shoes. This is awesome, and everybody is fighting, and this is good, because if you see a problem, be that the planet in danger or the people on the trolley in danger, what do? Do you say, oh no, someone should do something? Or do you say, no, 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 we are going to do it, we are doing something, and then you actually do it, and you fly towards the problem, you face the problem, you touch the problem, and you bring the problem to a safe ground. That's what you do. You know your goals, and we have many, many goals. They are public, they are everywhere. Now it's time to act. We need to act now in order to save the planet. And the final question is, who is we? Who should do it? Who is we? And the answer is, we is you. You are we. Only you can do it. And what can you do? Well, number one, we heard it before, is you set the goal. And it should be a big goal. Save the planet. Fantastic goal. And then you measure your action every day, just as Singapore did. You say, did I do something to save the planet today? And if you did something good, you give it +5 or +3. And then at the end of the month, you add it all up. And if it's positive, it's good. And if it's negative, it's not so good. And if it's 0, your actions didn't match your goal. So your job is to be an action hero and do it. And the job of an action hero is never done. There's always something new. The action heroes might take a brief break, but there's always something they need to fight. So let's wrap it all up at the Tech Jobs Fair Knowledge to Go cafeteria. Number 1 goodie bag, disruption starts at the fringes. So find a fringe market you like and grow with that and disrupt the big market. Your vision should be big. You are as big as your idea. The best ideas in the quadrant of valuable and unique increase the value of your idea and increase the uniqueness of your idea. If you are fighting somebody really big, attack the weak spots. Find the weaknesses of the mighty in order to disrupt the market. And also, don't forget to move from product to service. Just ing it. And finally, please help save the planet. Do it now and you will rock the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Okay, see you then. Bye-bye, take care.